Welcome to the new Overlords Podcast, where we talk about video games and sometimes some new ones, like today. So we're going to talk about 2 new games today. I'm Max, and with me, as always, is someone who also was once human, my co-host Sema. Hello there, Sema. Wait.
Thanks for the compliment.
Sema used to be human. She still is, but she used to be too.
Used to be, right. Hello, Max. How are you doing? Did you survive the tornadoes?
I did. We had sirens. We hung out in the basement and watched YouTube videos for about 40 minutes the other night, but we're all fine here. How are you? How are you up there?
I do not have tornadoes to brag about, so we're doing good.
Do not have tornadoes. You know what I do have?
I wish I do not have donuts either, and I wish I did.
I have Crumble Cookie upstairs, but that's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
If Crumble Cookie, if you'd like to sponsor the program, just give us a call, because my daughters buy your cookies every Monday anyway. Look up Crumble Cookie if you want to find out that new sensation.
We have really good local donuts, so if Humdinger's Market wants...
Let's get them all out there, Sema. Crumble Cookie.
They are so good, but they run out of them by like 9:30.
NVIDIA, you want to send us some new graphics cards? We'll take those too. That'd be great. Whatever the case may be. What we do have is we have news.
Good news, everyone.
First up in the news, something I am very excited that is relevant to my interests. Sean Murray was put out from Hello Games, put out his usual communication plan, his announcement of a new update. That single emoji went out a few days ago, and the update dropped today. So it looks very amazing. I think we'll talk about it in detail next week. Hopefully the expedition will start by next week, because that looks really, really fun too. But it is a huge, huge update. Their last expedition just finished, and they had another update in May. But this one is very, very big, and there's a couple really good videos out there I encourage everyone to go watch. One is just the trailer video for the update. The second, which is even more fun to me, is a 5-minute video where Sean himself talks about the update. And one of the key things that he mentions is, as they're working on their new game, Light No Fire, which I'm very excited about, as they're working on Light No Fire, they're now bringing some of that technology back into No Man's Sky, and we're getting the advantage of some of that. So it does kind of re-architect the wildlife, the plants and animals, flora and fauna, and weather and atmospheric effects on the planets. It didn't change the terrain. Okay, we'll talk about it more next week.
Well, is that Sean in the picture right there?
That is Sean. That's Sean. Yeah.
Cool.
He's just a geek like you and me. He's one of us, Sema.
He's not wearing a tuxedo or anything.
No, he's just a guy. And
or even
he's really fun to to remember that video of him at Games. Was it Gamescom or it was the Jeff Keighley thing? So he came out on stage with Jeff Keighley, and he's like, "Yep, we're doing a new game." And everybody's joke is he overpromised No Man's Sky originally. It's sort of like, it's going to be huge multiplayer. And it's like, so you're not going to overpromise this time, are you, Sean? Nope. But our new game, it's going to be the size of the Earth. It's going to be the biggest game ever made. It's good.
That's hilarious.
He just cannot hold himself back. But they've got the tech to do it, and they've certainly come a long way. And maybe it's still overpromising a little bit, but it does look amazing. And No Man's Sky, the biggest joke, I was chatting with some other people earlier, the biggest joke in the comments under the tweets that he puts out on the social networks is, Sean, now it's been 9 years. You still have 0 ways for us to give you any more money. I paid you one time 9 years ago. Please take my money. And it's true. You can't. You could buy another copy of the game. It's one time, one price, and it's like on sale for $25 right now, a Steam sale. And there's no way, there's no cash shop, there's no pay for updates, there's no battle passes or seasons, but they're up to like their 15th update with all these expeditions, and So it's a really inspiring model from a game development perspective. So that is fun. And then what else we got? We got a couple other games that are continuing to get hyped up. They're a little bit further out in the year. Have you been keeping your eye on these games? What are you most interested in? Are you going to play Dragon Age?
Oh no,
Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
I'm kind of thinking about, since you mentioned No Man's Sky is on sale, that made me think, why haven't I bought No Man's Sky?
Yeah, why haven't you? We're going live Monday live. Sema and me are gonna be streaming No Man's Sky. Oh, it's on Game Pass?
What?
No Man's Sky is on Game Pass? Then
I
Sema's
didn't have to
got
buy
it. No.
Oh, I have no excuse.
Get out of town. Shut the front door.
It's a good thing we don't know anything.
I know. We know nothing. We're bad gaming. Anyway, hype continues to build for two other games that I've had my eye on, which is just interesting to see. So I think these are going to be, they seem to me, at least from the media's perspective, the most hotly anticipated the games of the year, which would be Dragon Age: The Veilguard and Star Wars Outlaws. So Star Wars Outlaws is a month and a half away. So it's coming out at the end of August. So not that far away. And articles continue to get written. In fact, there's 2 new articles and a new 10 minutes of exclusive gameplay by IGN. That is looking pretty fun. And I just am fascinated by the media's approach to what they're interested in. So yeah, I know some hardcore Star Wars people that like there's been some edgy feedback. There's been some, optimistic feedback on what people have seen so far. We haven't really seen too much, but it is looking interesting to me, and I'm looking forward to it. I'll also then just be interested to see what the media reaction is.
I mean,
leading up to
from
it
what I
and
saw
after it
of
launches.
from what I saw of the gameplay, it looks good.
It does. It does look good. They're calling
They make it look, smooth and intuitive. I wonder if it actually is.
I like how the little Nix, your little pet, runs around and does things for you. It becomes almost like an ability rather than.
I was wondering if you'd go, oh no.
No, I talked about this because he's got a purpose. Because he's got a purpose other than just to be a cute little merchandising opportunity. Because he's a tool in the game. Even like on Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the cute little robot, but he does a lot of things for you. I don't mind that as a game mechanic. That's okay. When you're just going to like throw out, just some cute little thing as a cameo so that the people can say, oh, there's a cute little thing. I'm like, so on it. It's fine. Whatever. It's fine. There was another new cute little.
Well, we can argue about that another time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for derailing my rant. But yeah, so we'll keep an eye on both of those. Interesting to see. I'm mostly interested as well just to see the trajectory of the media coverage. They're kind of hyping it up, and if it gets overhyped, it's going to be their fault. And then they're going to write all the articles about how it didn't live up to the hype that they created. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
The one thing about this gameplay clip, though, that I watched, and I assume you watched too, is just sort of like, she's like, oh, I need this thing, and it's inside a Sarlacc pit, so I'll just jump in. I don't think I would do that. Especially, it took Boba Fett a while to get out of his.
Yeah. And the typical trajectory for getting out of it is 10,000 years. So you're right. Why would you just jump in? Anyway, we'll see where that goes. We'll see where Dragon Age, I think that's going to be
maybe it's different because the thing is dead.
Oh, it's a dead Sarlacc? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When she pushes through there and she goes, oh, this stuff is leathery. And I'm like, oh, I thought you were going to say something far worse. Like slimy or icky. Well, leathery, I think you got off easy.
That reminds me, they just found what they think is like a tunnel into the ground, like a lava tube or something on the moon. And,
Yeah, I saw that.
and then I was thinking, this isn't a cave. It's actually going to be a
Right.
space worm when they land in there. Harrison Ford, when he lands in there after he becomes an astronaut, he's going to realize
Right.
it's actually just a space worm that they're inside. And there's Minox. Chewie, get the Minox off the ship. That's what's going to happen.
And also, I thought too, it's like, why do you go like way deep inside a sarlacc to find its tooth? I would think it'd be hanging out near the edge.
Right.
But no.
I mean, that is its mouth. So maybe its mouth like collapsed inward and like went down to the
Yeah.
bottom of the pit too. Yeah. Find a way out. That's her next objective, I just saw. Getting in is
Right.
the easy part. She's about to find out. Getting out's the hard part.
But after watching that, first of all, my first thought was, I'm not going to watch this for 10 minutes. And then my next thought, which happened right after that, is like, what? It's been 10 minutes already?
Right.
Like, now I want the next 10 minutes.
Well, of course, she just walked up the tunnel and squeezed out between the rocks. So apparently getting out's going to be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Right. She does get out. But she has to take.
But then there's a thermal what is that thermal detonator? Who threw that at her? Or did she drop that? Oh no, somebody took the tooth off of her. Oh, the plot thickens. All right, spoilers.
No. Oh, I see. Oh.
Oh, so she got out.
That. I thought that was like it beginning to play again, and I stopped watching at that point.
No.
Why did I think that?
Yeah, no, she got out and the thermal detonator blew up and but now it's a chase. The chase is on. All right, enough of that. We'll come back to that when it comes out. Two other things in game release news. Yesterday, nobody's talking about it, of course, completely underrated game. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora had a DLC update. Now you do have to pay for it unless you have Ubisoft Connect or you have the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora season pass. If you don't, then it's like a $15 DLC update that you have to pay for. So that's a downside. But again, I think Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is an underrated game, an appreciated game from a discourse around video game news perspective. You never hear anything about it. In fact, I was looking on Steam at it launched yesterday, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora Skybreaker DLC, and I look on Steam and there's no reviews, no user reviews. What do you mean there's no user reviews? This is Avatar Frontiers of Pandora Skybreaker. It's just, maybe just nobody's paying attention because it's underrated. It's a really good game. And then the one other thing, just because we are Star Wars games fans, this is not that interesting, but August release, so 2 weeks. Star Wars Bounty Hunter, which is a 20-year-old game, is being remastered by Asper. Yeah, Asper. They've remastered a bunch of stuff. They've remastered stuff that people haven't liked how they remaster it.
Remaster masters.
Yeah, some of the stuff they've remastered people have loved, like some of the Tomb Raider stuff, some of the other stuff that they remastered, like the KOTOR stuff, people didn't like how they remastered it, but they are remaster masters. And Bounty Hunter, Star Wars Bounty Hunter from 2002 is something that people really used to like in the past and maybe will again. It's coming out on a bunch of platforms in 2 weeks. So we'll see what people say about that. As always, thanks to everyone out there for following and listening. If you need any of the subscribe links for audio or video, they're all on newoverlords.com. Special thanks to everyone who hangs out with us here in the chat room and plays the First to Say First game in the pre-show. And also comes and chats with us all day, every day on Discord. You can find our Discord link at newoverlords.com/Discord. Jump right on there. We'll say hi. Also, don't forget, if you're looking for one of those big family-friendly gaming communities, check out Alea Iacta Est. That's the guild that Sema and I play in for most of our big MMOs in particular. AI-guild.org for the Discord, and you can jump in and chat with everybody there too. Also, if you're a donut shop or a cookie shop and would like to sponsor the show, then give us a call at Max at
We'll be happy to eat your cookies and your donuts.
Jump in our Discord, and you too can sponsor the show for the price of one donut. All right.
I want to survive.
Say it again.
I want to survive.
Not really survival, so I'll cut that.
No.
Just half survival. I'll cut that drop in half. But we're gonna talk about 2 games, aren't we?
Yeah. Yes,
one
we are.
you played and one I played in detail. So we're gonna do a little
Yeah.
update here on both of those games, which I think is fun.
Should I go first?
I think you should go first. Yes.
Okay. So the game I played was called Tchia, and I played it on Game Pass. And this is why Max said half a survival game. It's kind of a survival game in that you roam around. And there's no. It's
Open
But,
world adventure. I would. Well, yeah. Are
but
there
there
are there
is-
any
yeah.
crafting or building? You're
so
like-
far there hasn't been.
Yeah.
and-
So it's more like an open world RPG.
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't know about RPG though, because you don't really level or, well, whatever. I'll just say there
Is
is
there story?
yeah, there's a story.
You tell us, and then we'll decide afterwards how we want to categorize it.
Okay, so there is a story. It's actually a story within a story. But that story that you're playing through is of this girl Tchia who lives on an island, Uma, in New Caledonia, which is an island archipelago in the basically, I don't know if it's technically called the South Pacific, but down there, like sort of making a triangle with New Zealand and Australia, so in that area. And it's very gentle and very artistic, and it builds on the culture of New Caledonia. It's not copying the culture of New Caledonia, but like for instance, Tchia has an ability to jump into animals,
Okay.
and then that is actually part of the transportation system. Like if you need to go a far distance, you can, jump into an animal that runs fast.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
and
I
that's
saw her
sort
do
of-
that. That makes sense.
That's inspired by New Caledonian folklore of shapeshifting, but it's not meant to be actual New Caledonian. It's like honoring it and inspired by it, but it's not copying it.
Okay. Got it.
And so it starts off on an island. She's with her. You go, the first thing you have to do is go find her dad, just, meet him in this place. And then they get together, they cook a meal over the campfire. They're living in these, like in a hut on a beach, no technology at all to speak of. And so you learn things about the island, you learn how to get around, you learn about her ukulele and her slingshot. And the ukulele, by the way,
Slingshot? I was gonna say her Y-shaped rubber band shooting machine.
yes. Yeah,
I saw
actually the
that.
slingshot you use to like the little game tooltip says you can use this to nudge things, but you can.
Nudge their eye out.
Pretty intuitive. Like even I was able to master the slingshot like right away.
Oh. That's
And
cool.
but I was going to say the ukulele is 2 things, right? You can play it like a musical instrument. You can just sit and play it and make chords. You can play along with another someone, not another player, but like one of the NPCs, or you can play a song, and they'll do like a thing that teaches you which chord. Like you get a little circle that actually has a bunch of chords on it, like C major, A minor, G major. And as you're following the song, it tells you which one to click on, and you actually play along with the song.
Oh,
And it tells you
interesting.
the rhythm.
Oh, I can see it. There was a little clip of it right there. Yeah, like
Yeah.
like a little rhythm
Yeah.
game version of it, but the actual chords. Oh, that's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
And if you get tired of doing that, you can just click on, autoplay, and then just listen to the rest of the song, or just move on to another activity or whatever.
Wow.
So that's one thing about the ukulele. But the ukulele is also how you do some of your abilities. And this picture right here is showing some of the abilities. So like the thing I know how to do with my ukulele now is change the time of day.
Okay.
So I
Oh.
can, if it becomes night, I could use my ukulele to just play it into dawn again.
The
play it to
soul.
dawn.
I see the soul melodies. Oh,
Yes.
that's interesting.
That one it's really easy to use, but it was hard for me to figure out how to initiate it, because this game, which is a PlayStation game, a lot of people reviewing it and showing it on YouTube and writing about it were playing it on a PlayStation.
Yeah.
So they all said, "Here's how you do this," and then it would be, you hit
Square,
button.
triangle, square button in the yeah.
the cross. It's the cross. So I finally found out that you just press 1. So it's very easy. I press 1, I get my ukulele, and I get this menu up, and I can change the time of day. However, this is also how when you master this is also somehow connected to how you jump into animals. So
Okay, I see
looking forward to doing
12. It
that.
looks like 12 abilities that you unlock for it on the little.
Yeah,
Unless
something
this
like
menu
that. Yeah.
expands, but it looked like 12 slots or 14 slots. Yeah, cool.
And right away, you get this, pretty much right away, you get the slingshot and the glider. And the glider is like in many games where many like MANY, where you jump off a cliff and then you can use the glider to go longer distance and also to not die. Although I don't know actually you don't die here when you like run out of stamina or whatever, you just pass out.
And where do you wake up? Oh, there's the little glider.
I don't remember. I think I did that one time.
You don't. You never wake up, but you just passed out. But you never wake up and your body rots away.
One thing though, it was hard a little. I wouldn't say hard, but it took me a little while to get used to the glider because of all the global cooldown style games that I play. I'm used to like mashing a button over and over and over again. So with this one, you just run off a cliff and you hit the space bar that opens up your glider.
And then if you hit the space bar again.
Yeah, but if you're mashing the space bar, you actually open the glider and close it again, and then you crash.
And then you
So
fall down.
Don't double jump.
Don't mash
And you
the
don't have
space bar.
you don't have to jump either. You could just run off and then hit spacebar one time.
Yep. That sounds familiar.
Also, every review mentions this. You can pet every animal in this game, but I haven't figured out how to do that. I think it's because I don't have the right soul melody yet,
Oh,
or something.
interesting.
Because like whenever I see an animal, the only options I get are to pick it up, put it in my backpack, or throw it. And it's kind of entertaining when she picks things up because she holds them up over her head. Like when you pick up the dog, you're like holding the dog
Sema chucks
like over
it.
your head.
Oh, what a cute little kitten. Chucks it.
So once the bad guy comes and kidnaps your father, then you pretty much go in search of him. The
Okay.
idea is when you first start on the little island, a friend comes that's bringing supplies, and you get the sense that the father and the friend have known each other for ages. And while he's there, and they have this gentle little ceremony, like, which they're kind of teaching about New Caledonian culture too, because like there's a ceremony where when someone does something for you, you thank them in a very specific way, which involves this. In this case, they brought gifts and it was a meal. So they do that together and they do some music together. Somewhere in that, the bad guy comes and kidnaps the father. He comes flying in with his airship, and these his two sidekicks that are like these beings that are like, they look like they're made of ribbons. And the whole thing is kind of scary, actually. And then, she tries to prevent her father from being taken away in the plane, but of course she can't. And then Trey, who's the friend, takes her back to his island and says, this is so-and-so, the bad guy who took your dad. You're not safe here. Best thing for you to do is just go find your dad. So he gives her his boat, which is that raft thing that you see in the thing. And so she goes off on, and her adventure is to take this boat to all the parts of, the land and find her father.
Do they call the land New Caledonia, or is it just like
no?
the
They don't
Tchia
call
land?
it.
Okay.
No.
So again,
they don't call it.
inspired by, but not.
And she has this. The world is really large. Once you leave her initial island, the world is very, very large. So, and I think it's going to be there. It is going to be a little bit quest driven. Like she wants to find. First, you're supposed to go and meet with the bad guy's henchman, and then the henchman gives, but you can't get in because the keeper of the door tells you, I will only let you in if you bring me XYZ, so then you have to go get XYZ and all that stuff. One thing about this that's really hard for me, I mean, way harder than it should be, is since you're on the map, which is very convenient to see there, she's holding a crab over her head.
Yeah. And there's a pretty big map, yeah.
The map is really clear, but it doesn't show you where you are on the map.
Oh. Well, that's a little bit of a flaw.
You can actually pin your location in the map, so you can say, okay, I walked for a while, and in that amount of time I've gone this far according to the map. But that does not help me, really, because I don't even know what direction I'm walking when I go. So I left my pin on the map, and I was going towards, I thought, a campfire, but then the next time I pinned my location in the map, I was farther away from the campfire. So like someone who's this is particular to me. I think a normal person would be able to find their way much easier than I did. But the good part is there's no applied sense of urgency from this game. So like I don't I mean, like somehow I'm on a mission to rescue my father from the bad guy, but at the same time I'm fine exploring and jumping off of things and learning the ukulele and
holding crabs over your head and whatnot.
Yeah, there's this sort of mini game of rock balancing that you kind of have to play, because as you do more rock balancing, you learn more soul melodies.
Okay.
So for instance, that you have to stop what you're doing to do that if you see a rock balancing location.
Oh, here's ribbon people. This might be spoilers. This might be a little bit further along.
Yeah, there's the ribbon people.
Oh, maybe a bad guy. Interesting. So cozy,
kind of funny
cute.
because when she comes to her first town, a couple of the people in the town mention to her, make comments about how she's dressed, like, cool outfit, dude. And then someone else says, "Oh, like your dress, you go, girl. Like, where'd you get that?"
Huh.
Which is kind of funny.
Okay.
But like you can see, you can customize her. That's
So
why I was looking for a campfire, because that's where you do it.
Oh, okay.
But I never found it.
Oh. So this came out a year ago on PlayStation only. The reason it's sort of big again now.
It was actually PlayStation and PC, but only through Epic Store.
So now it finally hit more platforms, sort of getting a little bit of a re-release. It's on Game Pass now. Sort of recently got added to Game Pass, so that's pretty fun to.
But I think that's why it plays as well as it did. Is it's not just some cheesy PC port of a PlayStation game. It's pretty intuitive how things work.
So cool. Is it? So there's not. Is it? There, I mean, it's not like a live service. It's a single player game, right?
Yeah. Right.
So no multiplayer, no live service, no battle pass, none of those kinds of things. Because the next game we're going to talk about has a ton of those. but okay, so just like a fun.
I just want to say one more comment. It's like when she goes into her first town, even though the art, as you're showing it here, is very simple, the mood and the setting and everything of the town, with just a few little changes, is completely different from what it is in the wilderness areas. And you can tell it's a town that's kind of oppressed by some evil force coming down from the top, and there's graffiti everywhere. And I swear I turned a corner and I saw somebody urinating in the street, but that can't be right.
So idyllic, cozy island life
eat,
interspersed with cyberpunk 2077 night city scenes of
but drawn charmingly.
But charming drawings of
but see,
a little industrial. Maybe they like
somebody, I read one description of it as a semi non-violent game.
Semi non-violent.
Like, this is obviously combat going on.
Yeah.
I haven't run into any combat, but I have a feeling that Yeah.
Did she just turn into a
You're
rock?
like, I'm not going to combat like. It looks like it.
She just turned
I'm
into
not going to combat like the creatures of the island. Like they aren't going to try and kill me. So I'm thinking, but the bad guys, yes.
Yeah. Okay. You can.
And they
Them.
might
You're just
not
gonna
even try to.
murder.
Maybe they'll. Yeah. Right. They're all bad anyway.
We're all bad.
Okay. Sorry, I messed up your segue.
No, I wasn't segueing yet. I was actually curious about the battle pass. Um, just that kind of thing. There's definitely a place in games still for just like a good single player adventure game. Let's have those, and we don't need the live service every time. Now, again, I'm not opposed to that if that's a model that gets more games made. If that can
Right.
just help make interesting things happen, then let's do it. Especially like
And
these.
it also, it kind of, it, I was gonna say, it kind of touched on something we've talked about before. Is like, why do you customize your character in a single player game? And in this game, you can customize your character. And I do I was starting to sort of appreciate that. Like it would be fun to give her a new hairdo, or she can wear shorts instead of her orange dress and blue backpack.
Can you change your face paint? She's got face paint in this video.
Right. Yeah. I don't have the face paint customization yet, and you
Ah,
can
gotta
buy
get some of that.
a different. In Game Pass, this game is included in Game Pass, but there's also another version for $8, which somehow has more customizations or something. So I don't know what's going on with that exactly.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so maybe a little bit of way to give them a little bit of bonus money if you want to do some extra fun things.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So overall, what would you?
Anyway,
what would
recommend.
you'd recommend to everybody out there?
Yeah. I don't think it would be bad for kids either. Although I wasn't playing it with that in my mind, so obviously no swear words, right? Because it's not in English.
It looks really well
And
done.
when I say it's not in English, it's not in English the way it's not in English the same way lots of games are not in English. Some are in like Klingon or Orcish.
Right.
So you can see everything. It's written in English, and speech bubbles are in English when you get them. Like most NPCs have a speech bubble, and the speech bubble tells you something about the location where you are. Occasionally, it will say things like, "Oh, I heard there's interesting things to find in the ocean down by such and such." Right.
Yeah.
So things to do.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm glad you got a chance to try it out, and it being on Game Pass is a nice little bonus, I think. So,
Yes.
if anybody has recommendations for more of those games like that we should just go try, especially if they're showing up on Game Pass or places we can get them easily. And Forrester did confirm that No Man's Sky is on Game Pass. I've just had it for forever, so I don't need to look up where or when to get it. But yeah, let us know, because we'll throw it in there and we'll make Sema go play them. All right, yeah. So I played a game this week as well. So part 2, our second new game. I played quite a bit of Once Human. Do not watch the launch trailer. Oh, go ahead and watch it. But the launch trailer has nothing to do with the game. Here, Once Human launch trailer. So the launch trailer looks like, the new Rock Band mode of Fortnite. It's like Fortnite concerts. That's what the launch trailer looks like. It totally looks like Fortnite Rock Band. And there's people on stage, and there's like little funny characters with teddy bear heads, and but then there's like enemies with balloon heads in the audience. This has nothing to do with the game. Nothing to do with the game at all. I don't know what they were thinking with this.
I was wondering from last week. Yeah.
And if you look at the comments, they're like, I don't know who approved this trailer, but this is for a different game. It feels like this trailer is trying to sell a completely different game than the one that's actually supposed to be advertising. And yes, that's true. I don't know what that is supposed to be.
But ineffectively, because we don't even know what that game is. Yeah.
Right. So watch the launch, the the gameplay trailer, the date release, the launch release date announcement trailer, that one's okay. And then, you know, you go find your favorite. Co Carnage, he's a really nice, seems like a really kind of a cool guy. He's done some playthrough videos if you want to see more. I didn't post any of my time, but I spent quite a bit of time. So what is Once Human? Once Human is a multiplayer survival adventure RPG exploration game. This one does have a lot of combat in it. It's got a lot of RPG elements. It's one of those moderately multiplayer games where you're sort of like in a sharded world with a bunch of people, and you see people all over the place. And it's actually a relatively large amount of people in each of the sharded worlds. But you got to pick a server, and you got to and then you get sort of shunted to a shard even within those servers. There are PvE servers. It doesn't seem like PvE is that big a thing, but there's PvE servers and then a lot of PvP. And then you need to go out, and then there's quite a big story element to it too. So you're this post-human of some kind, and it's not exactly clear. Your code, you're sort of like your nickname for what you are is called a mayfly. You have the ability to not succumb to this force which has created this post-apocalyptic world. So the Earth has sort of been inundated by this dust. It's like this weird stardust that has done a little bit of corruption of the world. There was a bad corporation that was experimenting with it, and a bunch of that kind of thing went wrong. And breakdown between dimensions is also happening. That's part of it. So there's some story elements going there as well. That's kind of where the post-apocalyptic world comes from, and that's kind of what you fight against. So you do, when you go out and explore, everything's sort of broken down. There are survivors out there, little encampments and people, NPCs that you go and talk to. But then there's a lot of like the zombies, and the zombies are corrupted by this space dust. My early looks at some of the trailers, we talked about this, weeks ago or, months ago when this first started coming out. I was worried it's going to be really focused like on the horror and the grossness, and it's not as much. It's more of like a sci-fi, and then the things you fight against can be sort of horror-esque because it's a big, mutated giant tree creature, but it's not just a full-on horror game. You're not just,
certainly the character creation looks very science fiction.
Yes, it's very science fiction-y. You have you get unfrozen to start things out. The corporation was doing experiments on you. You talk to another sort of like peak experimental person. Her name's Mikio, I think her name is. She's a key part of the story. And then there's this other dimensional like bird thing that's like your guide and tells you like, oh, go talk to her. She's another meta-human as well, and you guys have to save the world. Character creator's pretty cool. You could see here, you could do this. This is somebody's playthrough. In fact, let's give credit where credit is due. This is Casas Plays, CASAS Plays. It's got a 2-hour playthrough video with no narration, just straight up just showing the game. I kind of like that for various reasons. But ton of character customizations options to make your little character. Basically, you can make your face, your hair, your skin. There's it's early access, but there's like sliders. There's like 10 sliders for your eyebrows. And half of them, I can't tell that they're doing anything. I mean, it's like your forehead, you can like change your forehead width, but then there's also hairline. And I like played with all the hairline sliders. They did nothing. So I don't know what some of them do. On the other side, so there's all these sliders. You can do a bunch of customization. And on the other side, you're like picking a face and then you're customizing from there. And it seems like you can customize your character to be any kind of attractive 20-year-old symmetrical faced person you would like. I like to pick like the old guys. There's like one that was kind of old guy-ish that was okay. So anyway, but character customization spits you out into the world. the fun of the gameplay is the survival crafting. You dumped right into being able to create your base and do base building, and it's relatively low cost. So you just chop down a couple trees, grab some rocks off the ground, and you can start building. And I like that in a survival game. I don't want to have to, well, for the first 10 hours, you can only put together 2 sticks into a teepee, and that's what you got. The other thing that this does really well with the base building is it is, moderately multiplayer. So you see people's bases all over the place, and they all look kind of the same to start. Everybody just puts down, like half the people only put down like 9 foundation squares and then walls around it. And that's it. But you're also dumping all of those buildings like in the starter zone, and the map is pretty big. So with a relatively big map, then you say, well, if I'm building my house here in the starter zone, and I actually ran a little bit further out into a zone that it was like on the edge of a zone that's more that I shouldn't have been in. I was like, level 5, and it's like a level 28 zone, 25 zone. But I put my house on there on the edge because I wanted to get a little bit further away from all these houses. And then I found relatively quickly, you can move your whole base. You can either blueprint an individual building, or pick up the whole base, and you have to like play with placing it in a new area, especially if the terrain isn't the same. But you can very easily, pretty much for free, just pick up your whole base and drop it off somewhere else, somewhere new, which is cool. I really like when games do that. Also, if you destroy any, like I didn't like how I built my things. If you destroy it, you get a refund of 100% of the materials. I really like that. Great quality of life of the building experience. And then you're also then building all of your crafting stations. And then there's tiers of the crafting stations. And that's where you start to build your gathering tools. You start to refine materials, and you build your weapons and armor. And your weapons and armor are critical to the combat in the game. And then as far as a game progression perspective, the weapons and armor that you craft are useful and the best things in the game. You will find weapons and armor, but they have a durability, and you can't repair things that you find in the game. So you want to be collecting blueprints, finding a new kind of weapon, upgrading and customizing the weapon, adding things to it. It's kind of very cool that way. I like that too. Then crafting really matters. And it's not just, you're just making a pickaxe and then you go find your armor and weapons from, loot drops. So good crafting. And then there's like, you're getting like upgrade points each time you level up to unlock more things to be able to craft and build. So that's looking pretty good. I unlocked a bunch of stuff, both like progression in the tree. Now I can build sniper rifles because I unlocked the sniper rifles. But you can also, there's like a cosmetic items. You can unlock cute shelves and curtains to put in your house. You're spending unlock points to do that as well. But it's things that you may want or need, or going to want like a better building material parts. I want rounded corners on my building. Maybe you're going to sacrifice some of your early game progression to get some cool things to build as well. And then you go out into the world. So then the rest of the gameplay loop is there are quests. There's what Mishiko, and your bird thing V. The meta bird creature's name is V. There's things they're telling you to do. So you will need to go find this settlement and talk to these people, and then they will send you out on a mission. Oh, you gotta there's something bad happening over here. Some of those progress into points of interest that you're going to go and explore. Some of them progress into boss battles, sort of like instanced lair bosses, and some of those progress into like dungeons. There's like I think the silos. Yeah, the silos are their version of dungeons. And they will even have hard mode versions of those, but right now I think it's all sort of like easy mode versions of those. The points of interest, you can also just go out and explore. As you're sort of like walking through towns, you'll get to a point of interest and things will pop up in the upper right of your screen that say, hey, you've just hit the ruins of Sunnytown. Go kill 15 enemies, find 2 weapon crates, find 1 mystical crate. And those are a little fun sort of side game. And there may be puzzles to get to it. And then you've like 100%ed this little point of interest town. They're all over the map. And there's like roads that you're going down. You get vehicles to traverse the map right really early. You get a motorcycle to ride around. So that part's pretty cool. As I said, the map's pretty big. You do need to level up to be able to explore more parts of the map because it gets harder and harder. Combat is not very difficult. So as you're exploring, you're doing a lot of fighting, but and this is sort of even one of the things that people criticize about, not criticize, but have, comments where they would like it to be a little bit harder. Combat's pretty easy. In fact, I didn't feel threatened very much at all. And I was fighting things well above my level in certain cases, like some of the boss things. So one of the things that people are asking for is, let's get some hard modes or some, crazy difficult world bosses for us to go be challenged by. I felt the combat felt pretty good too, especially the shooting. You get a crossbow first thing, and then you start making, guns really fast. And then they have this little thing where some of the enemies that you fight will drop something on the ground, a piece of technology, either like a machine gun or like they have these spotlight head zombies. It's like the environment itself becomes alive. So they're walking around with a spotlight head, and the spotlight head drops onto the ground, and then you can pick it up, and it's like a little energy weapon for a little while that you get to use temporarily. All the range stuff to me felt pretty good. There's melee weapons as well, which I do use because ranged uses up ammo, and you need to create ammo, and you can create a lot of ammo, but you do have to farm for it a little bit. It's not too bad. In fact, I probably wouldn't have to at all. But if a zombie's in your face, sometimes it's easier just to switch over to my machete or my baseball bat and smack them in the face. The melee combat doesn't feel as good. It does a thing that I don't like in games too much, where your character moves during the melee, like the melee action. So there's like a light attack and a heavy attack. And when you do the heavy attack, especially, you take like 2 steps forward, you hit the zombie, and you step around to the backside of the zombie, and it completes the motion. It's very damaging and does a lot of damage, and it's not like you're getting hurt by doing that. But I don't like being like standing on top of a building.
It's kind of disorienting.
Yeah, both disorienting and I feel like it's gonna fall off.
Right.
In some of these areas are a little bit platformy, and you're like fighting up on top of a water tower.
Doing that?
Yeah. I don't know if you can fall off because of the animation. I should try it. That's a good point. I've been too afraid that I'm going to fall off.
Yeah.
And
I hear ya.
I'm not afraid, but I've been angling myself so the animation wouldn't take me off the edge. You do have like a glider ability. That's you're basically activating that little interdimensional bird thing I was talking about. I guess in beta there was a stamina for running and for gliding. I can't find any stamina, and I've glided very, very far. So maybe there's no more stamina anymore. The gliding feels really good. There's a little bit of jumping puzzle kind of thing that you just saw in the video where the guy had like he climbed up on the roof, and then you jumped off to hit that purple light glowing in the sky. Sometimes you have to like hit the light, and then the light will move to another location. Then you parkour around to get to the next one, and it goes to another location, and then finally a crate appears, the mystical crate. So a little bit of puzzle things like that are fun. I found like one environmental puzzle. Yeah, go ahead.
One thing I kind of liked about Tchia is like if I was standing on a cliff and I wanted to go somewhere and there was another like a mountain in the way, I could just jump off the cliff and just climb over the mountain. I don't have to like go to the side and find a road that goes through anything. She can climb anything.
Oh, that's that. I like that too. I like that in an
Yeah. I
exploration
mean,
game.
there is you do expend stamina, but I still like it. And like there's no like stamina meter that I found except for occasionally it will pop up and say, "Okay, you're losing stamina."
So there are places here where you can't climb up and you do need to go around and that kind of thing. But I haven't found any sort of area of the map that I can't really traverse to because you're kind of like on an island. So yes, you'll end up at the coast. But there are places that you just can't climb, and that does annoy me. I can just climb up. What are you doing? Climb up, bro. The one side of this game, though, that is something that people are watching. So it's completely free to play. It's also mobile as well as PC, but it's a very high fidelity PC game. Multiplayer seems good. It's a really big adventure. You can play with groups of people. You can all make your like bases together. You can help let people build on your base. But there's definitely a lot of like season and cash shop stuff around. All of it seems pretty good though right now, especially for the US market. I think there was even other
Can you
markets.
be on your PC and your friend is on mobile?
That I don't know if there's crossplay. That's a good question. I don't know. I couldn't imagine playing this game on mobile, but I know a lot of people do,
No.
especially in other parts of the world.
Me either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a journey system, which is kind of like, hey, here are the 5 stages of learning to build. Place a foundation, place 5 foundations, place some walls. So there's the journey system where you're kind of getting like led along exploring the game systems. There's achievements, so you're unlocking achievements as you go, and those show up as Steam achievements. There's a season pass, or there's a battle pass. And there's 2 tracks. There's a purchased part of the battle pass that just unlocks more cosmetic rewards as you unlock more of the battle pass. And then the free part of the battle pass have some of like the in-game currency that gets you upgrades and stuff. But none of that on the purchased part. So again, no purchased power and no pay to win so far. And then there's like a cash shop as well. So there's a lot of these kind of systems that people are leery about, but seem to be treated well, and they seem to respect the player's time from that perspective. The other thing that people are keeping their eye on very closely is the world. There's like sort of like 2 main dimensions to the world. There's the main world that you're playing in, and then there's sort of like, I forgot what it's called, like persistent land or something like that you unlock when you get to the higher levels. And the main world only lasts 6 weeks, at least the first quote unquote season. And it's unclear whether future seasons will last shorter or longer. And people are sort of going to see where that's going to go. So the base you build up and everything you unlock, the world gets wiped after 6 weeks. Seems a little short. And if you're like building up a big house and a base, and that might seem not optimal. However, there is like the permanent mirror land. You do have the ability, as you sort of get to the end of progression, of both moving materials, moving weapons and armor, and being able to blueprint everything that you've built and save all of that. So even when you get to the next season, all your blueprints for the weapon and gear that you've collected and the physical blueprint for either parts of your base or whole bases can be saved and brought over. You'll still need to farm up the new materials because your levels get wiped. But the things you've learned, some of your blueprints, maybe all of your blueprints, and your architectural blueprints then come with you. So maybe that will feel fine. Interesting model. Everybody is sort of waiting to see how that's going to feel and how that's going to look, how it's going to feel bringing things over into the more permanent land and building your like permanent base there, that you're transferring things back and forth between the seasonal worlds. Oh, and then one last thing I didn't talk about. They bring in a lot of ideas from a lot of other games. There's these little fragments, these little like animated creatures, Pokemon. They're Pokemon the Pokemon are kind of like what's inside the world bosses that you're fighting. It's like they don't mean to, but they're like an interdimensional thing, and it fractures, blah blah blah, and it creates this boss. And you kill the boss, and you get the Pokemon. And there's other Pokemon that you can like either buy or find out in the world. You have these little containment units where you save all your Pokemon, and then they do things for you. You can put them in your backpack, which is a special backpack containment unit, and then they'll like fight for you, and different Pokemon have different abilities. So you take one with you. Other ones, like there's this one you get really early that you can just send out, and it goes and mines stuff, and it comes back, and you go to its little containment unit, and you collect up all the things that it mined for the last day. So the Pokemon collecting is another part of it. So you can already hear it's an amalgam of a bunch of games, but seem well executed across all of them. And I think it's gonna persist. This season model, if they handle it well, I think may be a highlight and may make this the kind of thing that people like. People that like some of the games like Division may get into it from the combat perspective and the points of interest in the world. People that like survival crafting may like it from that perspective. The little pet collecting Pokemon part of it is a cool thing. There's a little bit of farming that you can do. And then I don't mind the idea of the resets, especially with a little bit of a permanent way to have some progression outside of that too. The reset for me for a survival game is when things get really fun. It's starting from zero again, and it's building things up and exploring a new area. And in theory, each of the new seasons might have different challenges, might have different features that come into the game and that kind of thing. So it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. That's my summary too. I'd give it a thumbs up and say, in terms of the pantheon of survival games out there, it's in the upper tier. Probably an A tier survival game.
Nice.
I would say that. Yeah, it's a good one. We'll see how much I play. I may play through just to level up and get to the central land. It is still early access, so I'll be interested to see how it goes and check back in from time to time. All right, that's
Maybe
enough of
they'll
that.
have an older.
An older what?
Oh, I didn't know if you could hear me. Maybe when they get some progress, and they'll have some different character creation options other than
I can finally
the
get
20-something symmetrical
my
face,
my old man.
thousands of eyebrow guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, get an old man with like
So many games.
asymmetrical face.
These games aren't made by children.
And like a unibrow.
Yeah, the people.
I know.
I don't need a unibrow, but I know where you're going with that. In fact, I barely have eyebrows in real life. That's when I try to make my face. I got to go with like the really thin, lightweight. But yeah, it's like there's grown-ups at these studios making these games. Why are all the characters that they create like 18 years old? Anyway. So yeah.
Well,
and then like all
I
of the
guess-
stories are like, "Hey kid, you're new to the world. Come on, kid, let's go, kid. Stop calling me kid, bro. I'm twice as old as you." So
yeah, don't tell me how to be.
you don't know my life.
That is right. Like you can be the hero. You don't have to be just starting out to be the hero.
Right. Especially like this.
You
get
can be
kicked out
old
in
and
the sci-fi
grizzled and
world.
have no eyebrows.
There we go. Really painting a picture for the people that only listen on audio. Wonder what Max actually looks like.
Right. The expression that I heard recently is like, well, you don't have to sing a song about it, Sema.
That's funny. So yeah, 2 fun games. I think that was a fun way to talk about them as well. Hopefully people like that. I even thought maybe we should like clip each of these game segments and put them up separately as a little separate video if people just want to just hear about that specific game. But yeah, just to wrap it up, Sema, what are you going to play this week? How are you going to, what are you looking forward to?
I'm going to play my base games of WoW and Star Wars: The Old Republic. I was going to play some more Tchia, but now I'm going to install No Man's Sky and see how that is.
That's very
So those
cool.
are my
Yeah, we've
plans.
confirmed that it's. Did you find a way? I saw you were like on the side here
Yeah.
while you found a way to install it.
Yeah, I mean, I went to Game Pass and it does have an install button rather than a buy button, so I'm happy.
So there's
I didn't want to start the install in case it did something to my setup here while we were podcasting, but I will afterwards.
cool. Well, ask questions in the Discord and I'll tell you in the post show. There's 2 ways to kind of play as a new player. The expedition, which will be coming in a week or 2, and then the regular new player experience, which is slower, but a fun way to get introduced to the game too. So both very fun ways to try it. So that's fun. Cool. Yeah. And Star Wars, I'll be in Star Wars as well. Mostly I'm focused these days on just riding out the summer. I will go back to the casino. I will play with their new venture system more. Taking the dog out for a walk is what I term it. That's their little way to progress through building up that new little Bessie robot dog character.
The venture
that becomes a
system is what
companion.
I'm doing mostly in there now.
Yeah, because
Like
we're done with the
I've
season.
been gambling when I get an Emperor's chip, but I have not won anything other than, the consolation prizes.
My comment is my summary of the gambling is I've not lost anything, because if you don't play, you can't lose, can you?
I mean,
So I have not
there's
lost.
that.
I may play a little bit more of Once Human. I would like to get to that the shared world and be able to set some stuff up there. I was worried that I was gonna have to switch off completely right now and play just Star Wars and No Man's Sky, but the expedition hasn't started yet, and we probably have a week before that. So maybe I can play a little bit of Once Human before I will certainly be playing No Man's Sky Expedition, the World's Expedition, as soon as that launches. That's going to be really fun. Can't wait. Cannot wait. Sean, you are a genius. So, all right. And with that, a little bit of a tighter show today. We kind of hit our target. We're going for an hour.
I was wondering if we did.
Yeah,
I forgot to notice what time we started.
my daughter said the show's a little bit long for her commute. Seemed like it was going a little bit long, and we tend to ramble. So
We do.
now hopefully we tightened it up and tuned it up a little bit. You got 2 games that we heard about, a little bit of game news. I like it. Feels good. So with that, all of our subscribe and feed links, of course, on newoverlords.com and our videos on YouTube/newoverlords. Please come chat with us in our Discord at newoverlords.com/Discord, and you'll hear all about our adventures in Star Wars and in No Man's Sky and in Tchia and in Once Human. And you can also follow on all of the social networks, and we'll keep you up to date there too. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.